In the beginning there was a field. In that field there was a church. Now this was no ordinary church. It had no doors with which to enter. It had no windows with which to look in or out of. It didn't even have a roof or walls to protect the congregation from the wind, rain, snow, or even the cold. In fact, there was nothing but straw on the ground to walk upon. To have anything else would be missing the point, as this was no ordinary church. Perhaps church is not the best word to be using for Western interpretation, though this was a place of worship, and the people were indeed faithful. This was no house of God. At least, this was no home for a good God. Far from it. For here another God was being worshipped. It wasn't the God of Abraham, or the gods of the Greco-Roman pantheons. This wasn't anything related to Hinduism or even the various pagan religions. This was nothing of that sort. No, this was not a church. This was a cult. A cult in the purest sense of the word. Now that we have come to the understanding that this was indeed a cult, you're probably wondering who it was that they worshipped. Well, it wasn't a who exactly. Not yet, anyway. It was, in reality, a seed. By now, you may be under the assumption that this was a nature cult. If so, you are sorely mistaken. I did say that what they worshipped was not a who yet, but it would be. In time, that seed would grow to become the key component of their god to be. And what component is that, you might ask? Why, the head, of course. No, it wasn't a human head, nor even the head of an animal. This head would be a pumpkin, a gift from the land. Unlike most gods, this god must be built by man. And like all things built by man, it was destined to be vile. After all, man's destruction could only be brought by his own doing. And so the seed of destruction was planted, and in a year's time, it grew.
Cult of the Straw Man by ReapersHorror.
My children, it is time. We are gathered here today to construct a vessel for a king that will inherit the land.
Mr. Callister said with great pride in his heart.
Our God has come before me and instructed me with orders of which I am now relaying to you. Look around you and ask yourselves, what do you see? You are in a field with only the clothes on your back and straw under your shoes. I ask you now to shed yourselves of all your clothing, for there is no more need to hide yourselves from the eyes of one that sees all. Yes, our God is all-seeing, all-knowing.
The members of the congregation obeyed this order without question or shame.
He sees that you are of flesh, and he knows that he wants it for himself. He does not ask for it all. Only a small portion does he require. David, my child.
Yes, Father?
Come here.
Yes, Father.
The man stepped forward and stood in the nude before Mr. Callister, the man he called Father.
You are worthy.
Mr. Callister handed a surgical knife to the man named David.
And your flesh is worthy.
The man looked at the pumpkin, still clinging to the vine. It was no longer a normal plant by any means. It had formed a face, a menacing face, one that began to speak to David in his mind.
Your flesh is my flesh. I require it. Give it to me and be part of me forever.
Yes, my lord. My time of harvest is now.
David thrust the knife into his body and removed his left lung. Then he handed the organ to Mr. Callister as well as the knife.
Now, my son, walk forward into the corn to the kingdom of the harvest. Go forth and be with your God.
The naked man calmly walked into the cornfield without hesitation and was swallowed whole by the stalks of dry corn.
Rest well, my child, and receive your reward with the next harvest.
I need more flesh.
Mr. Callister looked to his god and nodded.
Jessica, my child, come forth.
Yes, Father.
A young girl stepped out from the congregation and took the knife from Mr. Callister. She was so young, only 17 years old to be exact. She looked at the pumpkin. Her eyes were wide with excitement.
Don't be frightened, my child.
I'm not.
She replied calmly.
Child, I, your God, require your flesh.
Yes, my lord. I'm ready for my harvest.
She lifted her breast and sunk the blade deep into her flesh, then extracted her right lung and handed it to Mr. Callister.
Thank you, Jessica. So young, yet so brave. Are you ready to go now, my child?
Yes, Father. I'm ready.
Bravely, she walked into the cornfield and was instantly swallowed just as the man before her was.
More flesh!
One by one, those deemed worthy stepped forward to become part of the harvest, each offering up one vital organ each for their god. And like those before them, they each walked into the cornfield, knowing full well that they would not be seen again. But bothered by this, they were not, for they were on their way to the kingdom of harvest, the afterlife for their congregation.
Our numbers are now few. It is now time to construct a body of which to attach the vessel. Gather the straw on which you stand. We will need clothing of which to stuff. Use that which you have discarded.
Those that were left followed the orders without question, and soon a body was formed.
I will perform the honor.
Mr. Callister severed the vine from the pumpkin and placed it on top of the straw body. The organs were then gathered and neatly placed inside the vessel, and a rumble was heard. The body began to vibrate. Inside the body grew vines connecting the internal organs. All that was needed for the vessel to be complete was a heart. Mr. Callister and his congregation looked at their creation, but the straw man stood motionless before them, and there was nothing but silence emanating from it.
How can this be? I don't understand. I no longer hear the voice of our God.
It was then that the eerie silence was shattered by the approach of police sirens.
No! This can't be. He is not yet awoken from his slumber.
Police were quickly on the scene, surrounding all exits.
Mr. McAllister, put the knife down and, all of you, walk away slowly from the scarecrow.
Mr. Callister looked at his naked congregation and nodded.
Do as he says, my children. It's over. The Lord no longer speaks to me.
Mr. Callister set the knife on the ground and slowly stepped away from it. Those few remaining from the congregation followed him.
Now get on your knees and put your hands behind your head.
Mr. Callister didn't have to give the command this time, as they were all now following the orders of the police. The men and women were all quickly handcuffed.
Wait!
A man stepped out of the back of one of the police cruisers. It was Father Jacob, minister of the town's only church.
You can't allow these blasphemers to stand trial, can you?
Of course that's what we're gonna do. It's the law, and not you, not God, or anyone else is gonna tell me to do otherwise. You got that?
I hear you, but the church has already ruled on this matter. These men and women are to be put to death right here and now, for the good of the heart of this town.
What the fuck is wrong with you, Father Jacob? You're a goddamn priest, so act like one!
With all due respect, you don't have any clue what you're dealing with here. These cultists are too dangerous to be allowed to live. Now, I'm giving you an order. Either kill them here and now, or...
Or what? You'll have my badge?
The chief turned and walked away, but was stopped cold in his tracks with a bullet to his back.
I wish I didn't have to do that.
The other officers were in shock at what they had just witnessed.
Now, who else wants to question the church?
The two remaining officers were in complete and utter shock, but before either of them could say a word, Father Jacob fired a round off into the air.
Okay, but we need to keep this quiet.
I know you're Catholic, but are you mad?
Look, I just don't want us to get into any more trouble than we already are. Let's just do as Father Jacob says, and then we can forget this ever happened. Besides, do you really want to arrest a priest?
You're crazy. Do you know that?
Father Jacob fired off another round into the air. This time it whizzed right over the officers' heads.
Okay, fine. I'll do it. But I won't like it.
Father Jacob motioned to Mr. Callister.
I want this one saved for last.
As the officers stood behind him, readying the cult members for execution, Father Jacob walked up to the god being built. It looked like an ordinary scarecrow, but smelled rancid and vile.
So, this is your god.
He pressed the gun to the scarecrow's temple.
If only I had a brain,
He said in a hushed tone.
Any last words before I blow his head off, Mr. Callister?
As the words left his mouth, the straw man sprung to life. Father Jacob turned and tried to get away, but not before a hand burst into his back and through his chest, ripping out his heart. The straw man then placed the still beating organ into its chest cavity as one of the officers began to fire wildly at it. The monster swung at the officer with its long, spindly arms. His body was sent spiraling backwards by the force of the blow. The other officer attempted to escape by running into the cornfield.
What? Dear Jesus, no! No!
Only to be torn apart by the field itself. The scarecrow then turned its attention to Mr. Callister and his nude congregation. He was on his knees before his god.
Lord, command me.
The straw man, towering over him, grabbed the sides of Mr. Callister's head tightly.
I will do anything for you.
Die for me.
The straw man turned Mr. Callister's head backwards and ripped it off with the spine still attached.
Thank you.
The beast tossed the head of Mr. Callister over its shoulder and walked off into the distance.